Thank you for speaking with us today. I understand that you have a story about your best friend who will remain unnamed. Can you please, first of all, tell us what her job is?
Yep, she's an aged care worker.
Okay, now can you please give me a rundown of the events that have occurred in recent days for her?
Yeah, well, I mean, it started when it was first announced that there would be mandatory flu vaccination. She expressed immediately concern to her manager and to the regional manager because she has a hypersensitive immune system. She reacts out of nowhere to have no idea what, often has cracked, bleeding hands, face will blow up, eyes will swell up, really crappy breathing symptoms. So she has often four Telfast, 180 milligram of Telfast, which is the strongest antihistamine you can have, 4 of those a day. You recommended 1 a day. So she had major concerns, like I already react to, I have no idea what. She's had scratch tests done and it's like the planet she's allergic to. And she had real concerns about putting other stuff into her body and not knowing how her body would react. Managers expressed concern, and yes, at the moment it seems like there's nothing we can do. The union's on it. We'll let you know. But for people like you who have concerns, we're seeing what we can do. And then about 2 weeks ago, I think they came out with their flu vaccination policy, which stated that it is absolutely mandatory. However, if you had a medical certificate saying that you couldn't get the vaccination, that would be okay. So we were working on that premise. We just needed to get a doctor to sign a medical certificate. No one will, because to sign that there has to be the real exemption, which is only previous anaphylaxis or egg anaphylaxis, I believe. So none of them were comfortable doing that. Our usual GP was concerned as well. She went to her insurer and spoke to other peers of hers to try and see if there was some way around it, because she doesn't have an anaphylaxis on record. And they came back saying, we're really sorry, but we can't do the exemption. The best I can do is to write you a letter for the company saying, I can't guarantee that it's safe because of your genuine health concerns and the instability of your immune system and your reactions. We can't guarantee that it's safe. It might be, we just don't know. And that we suggest you enter into conversation with your management. So she sent that to her regional manager. It took a couple of days, and this was all, she was already over the May 1 timeline. She had an extension. She had to book a date that she was going to get the vaccination. And after a couple of days of nothing, not even recognition that they'd received that letter, it came as a verbal verdict from her facility manager. So the regional manager spoke to the facility manager, and the message verbally to her was, no, the letter's not good enough, and you have to have the vaccination on that date that you have booked. We had been advised by our general practitioner, or her GP, that she needed to go into the surgery to have it, simply because of these health concerns and the risk. Yeah. So we went in, they put us in the nurse's room, gave her the vaccination and said, okay, set your timer. Usually it's 10 minutes, set your timer for 15. We'll keep you for a little bit longer. Just to make sure that you're okay. So they were amazing. That staff were absolutely incredible. We're concerned, but, obviously she was there to do what she had to do. Gave the vaccination within about 10 minutes. She came up in a very flushed, itchy skin reaction on her neck and décolletage and her arms. They gave her 180 milligrams of Telfast, just orally. I had taken an EpiPen that we had because her daughter is anaphylactic to dairy. So I'm like, I've got to drive you half an hour home. I'm having something in my pocket if we need it. So that we made the plan with the doctor that, okay, they were happy. They saw that the Telfast was settling things down, but, it's not guaranteed that she's okay. You've got the EpiPen, go home. If you need to, use the EpiPen and go to the hospital. So we drove home and she thought it was settling. we got home, and then just all of a sudden she was just all red and just screaming at me, it's itching, it's just, oh my God, stop it, just make it stop, just take me to the hospital, I can't bear this. So I threw her in the car. She had some prednisone on the way home as well, because she just was still itchy and tingly. And we got to the hospital. They were amazing. As soon as I said flu vaccination an hour ago, and I think she's reacting, they just had us whipped straight in through. They had the adrenaline ready. They gave her intramuscular hydrocortisone. She was starting to have tingling around the lips. Her throat was really sore and scratchy, and like just felt like, she said, it feels like there's an elephant sitting on my chest.
Oh, yeah.
And I was holding her hands, just trying to stop her from shredding herself to pieces. And so the staff were amazing. The hydrocortisone was enough for her to calm things down. They kept her in for maybe 2.5 hours. Gave her an EpiPen script and said, you must fill this because your system will be hypersensitized now. And even more so, you're going to be really easily triggered. And the advice from the doctor in the emergency department was, don't ever do that again.
Okay, yes. So the situation is she knew her body wasn't the type that could tolerate this sort of thing. She got forced into it, and exactly what she thought would happen happened.
Yeah, I don't understand why someone have to want to shred themselves to pieces and not be able to breathe before it's deemed unsafe for them. Choose what they put into their body.
All the warning signs were there. Any fool would know, doctor or no doctor, yet the doctors are too terrified to...
Absolutely. We spoke to three different doctors, all of whom said, I can hear you, I can understand you, and my hands are tied.